say like if we were going to play Monday morning quarterback, and we just look at this thing and we say, okay, the next time something like this goes down, is there really anything that you feel like could have been done, or maybe you are listening to the East Texas Banner right here at easttexasbanner.com. Got the privilege today of sitting down with Sheriff Colton Havard over here in Newton. Wanted to kind of give everybody an update as to what went down with Operation Pitbull, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule.
You're welcome, Jay.
So, okay, so there's a lot of dog lovers.
Oh, yeah.
That have maybe don't understand exactly some of the restraints, constraints, and legal side of what went down with that process.
Right.
Okay, so first of all, you guys arrested how many people?
43.
Okay, so you arrested 43 people. During your whole career, has Newton County, have you ever heard of Newton County arresting 43 people at once?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, all right. So how many people do you have here that work for the sheriff's office at this point, as far as checking everybody in?
So we've got two jailers here, and they're
Okay.
also a jailer and a dispatcher.
Okay.
They do dual roles, so
Okay.
they're here. If somebody gets brought to jail, one of those two are going to be booking the prisoner in when they could get brought to jail.
So the answer to that is you had how many people helping the process of getting everything booked in?
Man, I lost count. I think we had, we had 7 or 8. We had all hands on deck.
Okay.
So what happened, maybe just for those that don't know,
Yeah.
November 22nd, we executed a search warrant down in Call regarding dog fighting. We arrived at the property, and there was 2 dogs actively fighting inside of a dog ring, okay? You had about, 50, 60 people spectating the dog fight, okay? Whenever we showed up and hit our emergency lights, everybody ran, everybody fled. The 2 dogs, we were able to get those dogs separated, placed in kennels for their safety, and then, we're getting people out of the woods. The guys that fled, we're bringing them in the process of towing everybody's vehicle that was on the property, because each and every one of them was there spectating a dog fight, and that's a Class A misdemeanor in the state of Texas. There's a lot of questions about why they wasn't arrested for felonies and things like that, because nobody on scene would claim that these 2 dogs were their dogs.
Right.
Okay, so if somebody would have claimed that, hey, those are my dogs, they would have been arrested for a state jail felony. But I couldn't prove who put the dogs in the ring, but I could prove that each and every one of them were there spectating the dog fight. That's why they were charged with a Class A misdemeanor. So in the process of inventorying the vehicles and removing the vehicles, there was another small dog found. So
Like a puppy or something?
A small puppy, about 1 year old.
Okay.
And so we were able to get those 3. 2 of them went to the vet, just to precautionary reasons, to be checked out for their injuries, the dog fight, and the other one went to a private shelter temporarily.
Okay.
And a lot of folks don't understand that, just because you or I look at something one way, law enforcement, we have laws, we have to play by rules, right?
Right.
The criminal element does not play by the rules.
Okay.
We have to. With that being said, a lot of people, the bond issue, that's something that's been brought up, $5,000 bond. Well, JPs have rules and guidelines they have to go by to,
Right.
as far as setting bail. I, as a sheriff, cannot refuse anybody's bail unless it's certain offenses, okay? And a misdemeanor does not constitute as one of them. And a lot of folks didn't really understand it until it all came together. And, now there's some folks out there that are, well, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? We only have so much manpower here at the sheriff's office. We've got 2 deputies running this county, 940 square miles. And, after executing the search warrant, we couldn't find placement for the dogs. Man, I had state reps, congressmen, senators, everybody involved. And after the fact, after somebody removed the dogs,
Sure.
everybody's willing to help now.
Right.
But prior to, it was like pulling teeth trying to find help. Not only did we have every resource we had in Newton County tapped out, also Jasper County, Newton PD assisted, state troopers, game wardens.
Yeah.
But, a lot of folks didn't really understand that and was kind of unclear. So due to the 2 dogs fighting, we could remove those dogs because exigent circumstances, meaning life or death. It was a life or death situation, right?
Sure.
So we could articulate that, hey, for these dogs' safety, life or death, we can remove these dogs from the situation, bring them to a vet. The other dogs they were tied up on the chains there on the property. They were just violating the owner, whoever it is, we still don't know, was committing a Class C offense, a violation of Chapter 821 of the Texas Health and Safety Code. You can't chain a dog up in the state of Texas. Anyways,
So wait a second. Okay, let me touch base on that. So in the state of Texas, you can't chain a dog up.
No, sir. Nope.
Really?
Nope. Has to be a cord of some sort, nylon or whatever the case may be, but it cannot be a chain.
Oh, okay.
Nope,
okay.
cannot be a chain. So that's
especially like a logging chain.
Yeah.
Some of the logging chains.
The chain is bigger than the dog,
Sure.
So a lot of people, I don't think it was relayed to the public enough that, we can't just go seizing people's property without a warrant or a judge's order.
Right.
So we had to petition the court that these dogs were cruelly treated. And I did. Yesterday, in fact, down at Judge Connie Smith's office, we had the hearing. The dogs were officially awarded to the sheriff's office. And they will be donated to rescues and things like that to hopefully give them a better life than they had, fighting and things like that, bait dog, whatever they're used for. But overall, it was a successful operation. We've got a lot of support from the residents here in Newton County. And, it's a very, very disturbing crime. I've been a cop for 11 years and probably one of the most disturbing crimes I've seen.
Yeah. So, okay. So then let me make sure I'm understanding this clearly. So if there's an active investigation, you guys roll in with a warrant and dog fighting is happening, you could address the two dogs that were fighting because they were in a certain level of danger based on each other, right?
Correct.
So you pull those apart, you kennel them, and then whenever you and your guys go to start confiscating these vehicles, because vehicles were everywhere.
Yes, sir.
That's where you found the other dog.
Right.
Okay. So legally there was standing as to the fact that you couldn't just take all 15, 16, 20 dogs or whatever
right.
from the location.
Right.
And so how does that actually work? So say like if we were going to play Monday morning quarterback and we just look at this thing and we say, okay, the next time something like this goes down, what are some things that, who's to say this would ever go down again?
You never know.
Because it's like when we talked, a few days after that, you were like, this is very unusual that all the dominoes fell like this.
Sure.
And so I guess my question is, if we're Monday morning quarterbacking this thing, obviously getting the people handled. because think about it. 6 or 7 people, 8 people here, checking in 43. Right. I don't think you went to bed till noon the next
noon the next day. Yeah.
And so it was a wild ride, man.
Oh yeah.
And so so getting the people handled was one thing by itself. But the dog situation, you immediately started reaching out to everybody under the sun.
Everybody. So,
is there really anything that you feel like could have been done, or maybe, some other process? I don't know how long it takes for a warrant to be, or an order to be made. I don't know how all that works myself. And so, once you decide, hey, we need to confiscate these dogs, there's a number of legal hoops that you've got to jump through in order to validate your claim, right?
Right.
And then the judge has to make the determination from there.
Right.
And so I guess, even if you guys had went out there with kennels and loaded them all up, which would have been completely illegal,
right,
it would have still probably been yesterday before everything got awarded to you guys to figure out where they go.
Yeah.
Right. So
that occurred on a Saturday night. Monday morning, I filed a petition with the court, with Judge Connie Smith, Precinct 1, JP Court. Law states you have to wait 10 days to have a hearing. So if somebody wanted to Monday morning quarterback it, and we have learned from our mistakes as well.
Sure.
We're going to try to probably build some kennels, maybe at the old prison or something. Okay. But it's just going to be for emergency purposes, okay? Because if we had 200 kennels, we could fill it up today.
Right.
Just dogs throughout the county. And so we could take, possession of the dogs that we're fighting, like I said, exigent circumstances, meaning life or death, right? Just because you or I may not agree with that, we have to go back to the guidelines and the laws that are made in Austin. We would probably reach out to our state partners at DPS and see if they could, help us sit on the place.
Right.
But once again, when you execute a search warrant, you can't. That means you're there searching for illegal contraband. In this particular instance, it was, dog fighting related. But at some point, we have to leave. I mean, we can't stay on the property indefinitely. Sure. And a lot of people think that, hey, y'all are the law. Y'all can do what y'all want to do. Well, we can't go around violating property owners' rights and civil rights and things like that. So we have to be very careful how we, move forward. And like I said, we can't just sit there.
Yeah.
And
it's not like you can just camp out.
No. And a lot of people are thinking, hey, y'all should have stayed there for weeks on end. Well, we can't. At some point, we have to leave that property.
Yeah, because the other piece of the puzzle is, and this has been something that's been really, and this will kind of veer away a little bit from Operation Pitbull, but one of the things that's really kind of, I don't believe the public in Newton County know, is that what you said a minute ago about 2 deputies. Talk about that just for a second.
Yeah, so we've got 2 deputies on duty. If one of them gets a disturbance,
is that morning shift?
That's day shift and night shift.
Okay, so you have 2 guys on days, 2 guys on nights.
Correct. On patrol.
On patrol.
So that's not including administration here at the office. But if you get a disturbance in Deweyville, we've got to run out of the office and go back these guys up. Same thing up north. If we get a disturbance up north, the city police is very good about helping us. But the south end deputy has to be removed from their zone to come up here and back up the north end deputy.
I don't think people know that.
They do not. No, they don't. And then response times, I'll let my guys know, hey, as soon as you get the call, I expect you to be en route because we work for the people. It's not one of these deals that you can just go whenever you're ready. I want them going immediately. But still, due to the geographical nature of the county, it's, response times.
But it's insane. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put a number on it, going from 62, what's that little community over there?
Old Champion.
Go from Old Champion and then head up to Toledo Village area?
Yes, sir. Done it.
On a call, you're every bit of an hour.
Yes, sir.
If not more.
Right.
Away.
Right.
And so having 2 guys, now, all right, help me with this. If you have, you guys operate under a budget, right? And, you had the Senate bill come out.
Senate Bill 22.
To help in the process. What would be best case scenario from a patrol standpoint in your mind? What would be best case scenario for how many patrolmen that you think would adequately help cover? Would 3? Would 4?
4 on a shift.
4 on a shift.
In a perfect world, you would have your south deputy, a mid deputy, and then a north deputy, and then a supervisor out, supervising and making sure everything's going like it should be.
Right.
But 4 people. That's, this day and time, you're a news guy.
Yeah.
Look statewide, nationwide, what's going on with law enforcement. And it's a very tough time to be in law enforcement right now. We don't have any applicants.
Right.
Not just us. Surrounding counties that pay way more than we do, they don't even have applicants, So,
it's kind of an industry problem.
Sure, no doubt. Why do I want to be a police officer and make $50,000 a year when I can go to the plants and make $150,000 a year?
Right.
It just is what it is. But we've got a really good group of guys here at the office, and we all kind of a big family, and so we've got a core group that does us a really good job, and I think the citizens are pleased.
Sure.
Yeah,
I continue to go back to the idea that people don't really realize the level of, it doesn't really matter. You can have 2 Rambos.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's still 2.
Sure, it's just 2.
It's still 2.
My biggest thing coming from Orange County, where you've got, we had 24 deputies and 10 investigators, and you had all these people. So
and a much different layout on the county.
Sure.
Yeah.
Orange is very populated, but it's small.
Sure.
Okay. So when we would have multiple major incidents happen throughout the county, me and 3 or 4 would go to this one, and then 3 or 4 more would go to this one, And I guess mid-January we had a call, shooting call down south, and then a motorcycle police officer got in a wreck on 62, and it was me and another deputy responding to the shooting initially. And whenever the other call come out, he had to break away and go to that, and I kind of thought to myself, I said, man, we got 2 of us and 2 calls. You go that way, and I'm gonna go that way. What else do you do?
Yeah.
But,
and now you're in a county that has 2 guys.
2 guys, exactly. Yeah. But back to Operation Pitbull.
Sure.
A lot of folks. Back to the bail. Why didn't y'all just lock them in jail and throw away the key, right?
Sure.
Well, like I said, the judges have guidelines they have to follow when it comes to bail, and then we have a 14-man county jail. Okay. The Texas Jail Commission, they come in and they don't cut anybody any slack.
Sure.
With that being said, I've got a good relationship with those guys. So I called them Sunday morning. Anytime we're out of compliance, we call and we self-report, because let them know we're taking the necessary steps to get back into compliance, right?
Right.
So Sunday morning after Operation Pitbull, I called our local inspector and I let him know that, I was out of compliance with jail standards. Had 54 people in a 14-man jail.
Right.
Literally standing room only. So with that being said, we didn't have the room to house these people.
Right.
Jasper didn't have the room to house these people. I mean, it's a big criminal organization is what it is. And, we certainly didn't realize that going into it, and I think there would be very few law enforcement agencies short of a big city, big county.
Right.
I would say there's 254 counties in the state, and I would say 3/4 couldn't have handled it either. I mean, just for the manpower we have.
It was a one-off.
Yeah.
So a one-off. So I guess, you see a situation like that, you kind of go, okay, well, maybe it does make sense to have more room in the jail.
Right.
At least a half a dozen more or a dozen,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, at this point, there's no adding on to this building.
No, no.
There's no.
No, it don't look like it.
No. So, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to reach out and sit down, is because I wanted you to give a little bit of clarity, because I think this idea that because you guys have a badge and a gun, that you can do whatever you want to do.
Right.
And, posting up down there waiting till somebody comes back and get them again.
Yeah.
Type of deal. It just doesn't make any sense, from a law standpoint.
Sure. Well, this is 2025. Okay. Fixed to be 26. This is not 1980 anymore. Okay.
Right.
1970. Just because you wear a gun and a badge, you're held at a much higher standard than you were. And there's, we can't violate people's civil rights. The dogs were removed from the property. So immediately, went and consulted with the district attorney.
Yeah.
And, my initial reaction, because I'm an animal lover, was, hey, I want to call a special grand jury, subpoena the defendants to a grand jury, and ask every one of them, did y'all get these dogs? Did anybody get the dog? And then they would have been found in contempt if we could prove that they were lying. But after you dissect this thing and look at it, we really didn't have the legal authority to get the dogs in the beginning. So there's a lot of people saying, well, they stole the dogs. They took the dogs. Well, for an actual theft, it really don't fit, because it wasn't the county's dogs to begin with.
Right.
We were just in the process of doing the petition to try to get the dogs awarded to us so we could find a better home for them.
And you're required by law to wait 10 days.
Correct. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, because
unless there's exigent circumstances, meaning life or death.
So then I guess my question would be, and maybe this is higher than both of our pay grades, but to me it makes sense that if you show up on a property that has a dog fighting ring, built and established, had been used before, being used when you show up, and you got 15 or 20 other dogs on location chained up, they're all pit bulls.
Right.
I mean, the whole looks like a duck and quacks like
Sure.
a duck. I mean, they were all fixing to be in a bind.
Right.
I mean, if you guys wouldn't have showed up, they'd all been in a real bind.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's a legislation deal.
Sure. And like I said, folks don't understand the hurdles we have to jump until they're directly affected.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. I mean, nobody's jumping up and down about what y'all are doing or not doing until it directly involves them.
And man, I have taken phone calls from Florida, Connecticut, Massachusetts, California. I got a phone call the other day from a lady in Anaheim, California, you know, and so I had to let her know that, hey, Anaheim, California, Newton County, Texas, you know, we've got a county of 12,000 people. We have no animal control. We have nothing. We have no resources, you know.
Right.
And her outlook on the situation changed after I explained that to her. But a lot of people think we have all these resources at our disposal, and we don't. You know?
I mean, we don't even have animal control here.
No. No. And again, if you did, you would fill 200 of them up and just today. You know, and then you got to have manpower to feed the dogs and make sure they're all healthy and take them to the vet. And, you know, we don't have that manpower here at the sheriff's office.
Well, Sheriff, I really appreciate you sitting down, man, just kind of bringing some clarity to that situation. I know that, you know, sometimes the way we're looking at the glass may, you know, maybe from a, I guess, a citizen's point of view, looks more half empty than half full.
Right.
And so, you know, I do appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and trying to bring some clarity to all that.
Yeah, yeah. And one more thing I'd like to point out is, touch on again, I should say, is, you know, just because you or I think something may be a specific way, don't mean that's how the law is worded. And, you know, a lot of people think that you know, we're leaving information out, we're not doing a thorough investigation, and that's it's not the case, but we have to abide by the laws, or they're going to put me in jail, you know. So,
well, it's not like when you went to the location that all the dogs had collars that said their owners' names, and those were the owners that we were actually picking up.
Exactly.
You know,
and again, you know, nobody wanted to claim anything out there.
No.
Nothing. No, you know, nobody wanted to claim the dogs.
No.
You know, and in fact,
well, not just that. I mean, there was another situation where you guys went out there in the woods and a guy's laying here and a gun's laying over there, and he's like, "No, I ain't never seen that gun before in my life."
Yeah, you know, they all had drugs, guns, and money on them.
Sure.
Okay, then so that, you know, there's some misconception out there. You know, the guy in one of the pictures is the dog fighter because he's holding the dog. Well, we unhandcuffed him. He was willing to help us separate the dogs.
Right.
So, you know, he maybe he was or wasn't, but we can't prove that he put the dog in the pit.
He wasn't
you know,
saying yes.
And he wasn't saying yes or no.
Yeah.
You know, so, and like I said, it's better than nothing.
Sure.
I can't charge any of them with the state jail felony dog fighting, but I can charge all of them for spectating, and that's what we did.
Gotcha.
Because I can go to court and testify against all 43 of them and let them know that I can prove that, but I can't prove that they put the dog in the pit.
Gotcha. Well, once again, man, I really appreciate you taking time just to expound on this whole thing, because hopefully this interview helps people with their understanding a little bit better.
Yeah, and something else, you know, anybody in Newton County that wants to come sit down and talk to me, I've got an open door policy. They're more than welcome to come talk to me. Half of them have my cell phone number. You know, they can reach out. And
or if you have a dog fighting ring out there that you
we'll bust it too.
We'll bust it too. Set up a warrant on.
We'll bust it too. You know, and one thing I'd like to leave for the listeners out there is I work for the people of Newton County. Okay, I don't work for anybody in Massachusetts or Connecticut or Wyoming or wherever. I work for the people of Newton County, and doing the people of Newton County a good job is my only concern.
Good deal.
So,